Hi, Vince.
Hello, Danny.
We went to go see Terminator Genisys.
Yes, we did.
He's back.
God damn
Yeah, this was a horrible idea. Totally keeping it in, though. So, Terminator Genisys. We were talking about this movie. We watched the Terminator earlier today.
Yes, we watched the Terminator right before, actually.
Yes, to kind of like, okay, because Genisys was advertised as a movie that's, okay, this is 1984. We need to know what's going on. And wanted to preface ourselves. This movie is strange.
Yes, this movie makes me confused inside.
I think I went into this saying that I think it's going to be what was it, a 5?
Yeah, and I said it was going to be a 4.
Okay. And the trailers for this movie have already ruined the movie.
Yes, they have. There is one good trailer
That spoils nothing.
spoils nothing, and then there's another trailer that spoils a
Everything.
big reveal.
Yes, a big reveal. So, I think we're just going to flat out say spoiler. Well, before we get into spoilers, go see this movie or no?
Yes, go see the movie. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
by this movie.
I was expecting a train wreck, and a train wreck is not what I got. I got a decent addition to the Terminator franchise.
And after 3 in Salvation,
It needed it.
yes. So, because this movie has so many spoilers in it, like right off the bat, there's nothing but spoilers, so here on out...
Yeah, and we should say that you should obviously see
Terminator 1 and 2.
before you see this movie.
Yes, they are essential viewing.
3 and Salvation are not essential viewing.
No, that's because this movie actually ignores 3 and Salvation completely. So, that's all good. Thumbs up. It's great to ignore those movies.
Pretty good.
So, spoiler territory.
Uh-huh.
Right off the bat, Skynet changes the future?
Yeah, so John Connor smashes Skynet, and then they send Kyle Reese back in time, and then Matt Smith is there. Matt Smith is like...
The Doctor is there.
The Doctor.
It's Skynet.
He's gonna regenerate John Connor
into a goddamn robot.
So he takes control of John Connor through nanomachines, and then you eventually get to John Connor being the villain of the movie. And that's what the trailer ruins.
Yes, the trailer totally spoils the fact that John Connor is a machine now, which is highly disappointing because this movie completely played it as a twist.
Yeah.
But I think the thing about that is that they've done this before. Initially, Terminator 2 had the trailer where it's just like, this time there are 2. You don't. You think that they're both bad.
Yeah, and then one of them is good.
You get the trailer where he's like, I swear I will not kill anyone, and then you immediately know that Arnold's a good guy. The special effects at the beginning, because as we're talking about the beginning of this movie, the future war looks like shit.
Yeah.
That CG is rough.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. I enjoyed the future war. I was telling Danny before that I always, if I wanted another movie of Terminator besides 1 and 2, it would be the future war. I think that it could play well. It could be just like a dumb war movie, and it could get some money. But it's not essential. It doesn't need to be told.
Well, do you remember me telling you that James Cameron initially had a concept for like the first 40 minutes of T2 being the future war and them smashing Skynet? You don't remember that?
No, I don't remember.
Okay. That was something that James Cameron wanted to do with T2, and they did it in this movie.
Okay, cool.
Like the first 20 minutes is basically what he had outlined, but then everything changes when...
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of direct, they did their best to make the shots in this movie match the shots in Terminator.
Yeah, there are shot for shot, like the shoes coming down out of the photo booth.
And then they even come so far as there's a dog in the beginning of Terminator 1 that walks across an alley, and they have the dog. Not the same dog, obviously, but...
Yeah, even the trash. The trash that's around, even the way that Kyle Reese falls, everything is the same, except for that one guy when the T-800 comes back to T1.
Yeah.
That guy's a national treasure. I really like that guy in the original Terminator. They did their best though. The beginning with the Future War, as I said, the CG was really rough. But then I was pleasantly surprised when the evil T-800 from T1 came back. And after Salvation and its horrible Arnold T-800, this
is godsend.
That looked awesome. Great CG for young Arnold's face.
Yeah.
And then not Bill Paxton. I mean,
yeah, not Bill Paxton.
Why couldn't we CG Bill Paxton?
Just get that gap in his tooth.
I think this guy's a few cans short of a six-pack. Wash day tomorrow. Yeah, and then that's where the timeline completely changes, and old Arnold is just like, I've been waiting for you, which you've seen in the trailer, and then not Linda Hamilton shoots the evil Arnold with a Barrett 50 cal.
And then right through the power cell. And then the T-800 is dead.
Yep. That saved about 2 hours of the original movie. Just like, there we go.
All right. We're making it short this time.
Yeah. And Kyle Reese shows up as he's supposed to, thinking that he needs to protect Sarah from that T-800.
And there's a bunch of conflict between Sarah and Kyle Reese at the very beginning about what should they do.
Well, you're forgetting about a major change. The T-1000.
Yeah, the T-1000.
Is now in 1984. Initially, Michael Biehn interrogated a cop and stole his gun in the original. Instead, this time that cop was a T-1000. Played by, not Robert Patrick.
Played by a generic Asian man. I don't know the actor's name.
Yeah,
I've never seen him before.
Yeah, but he did have the whole, like, T-1000 stare down and everything else. He had that going for him.
Yeah, and see, the trailers, they kind of paint the picture of it's just going to be a mess of just time travel. Like it looked like it was going to be really hard for them to pull this off because they have, that there's going to be like future stuff like 2029, the apocalypse, and then there's going to be 1984. They didn't show anything in 1991, was it?
1997, when Judgment Day is supposed to.
Oh, okay, but it was filmed in 1991. Yeah, okay.
It's just, God, and then them knocking out the T-800, getting the T-1000 off of them, disposing of the T-1000 in, I think, a very cool way. They didn't just recycle T2 and throw them in steel, which I thought they were going to do.
Yeah.
They dissolve them with acid.
Yeah, which I'm a chemistry major, and I was just like, yeah, good on you. You did something different.
Yes, he also melted Arnold Schwarzenegger's, skin off.
Which is the plot device that says, I can't go into the future with you, because they built a time machine in 1984.
Yes.
And this is where I'm like, this is going to be a clusterfuck of a movie. I still wasn't sold on the movie yet. So Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese go into the future because Kyle Reese has, like, premonitions. He told himself, like, remind yourself that Genisys is Skynet, and, this is the day you actually need to go to. This is the time period you actually need to go to. You can't go to 1997.
Yeah, you have to go to 2017.
So there's just a ton of dates being floated around.
Yeah,
and I thought this was gonna be a train wreck, man.
Yeah, I never knew that the time displacement equipment was able to go forward.
It kind of makes sense. It's a time machine.
It's whatever. It's time travel. It's not supposed to make sense.
Yeah, it never will make sense. And even in this movie, they did a good job with the time travel logic. But if you really sit down and think about it,
of course. Then again, the Terminator franchise has never made any sense when it came to time travel. So, I thought that Arnold's acting as the kind of Guardian T-800.
Yeah, because that's his name now. Like, he's credited as as Guardian.
But they call him Pops.
They call him Pops.
And this is a Terminator that was sent back to 1973 to stop a T-1000.
Yeah, we didn't mention that. So this is like, so we've learned all this before they go into the future. They go into San Francisco to stop the real.
The real Skynet.
The
hipster Skynet.
The real Skynet. And so you have, like, 1984, you have 1973, you have, what other dates do we have?
73, 84, 2017, 2029. You got 4 different time periods.
And then you also have allusions to 1997, but they never really talk about that much.
No, they just kind of skip over that and killing Miles Dyson and blowing up Cyberdyne in that timeline because the changes that Skynet has made 1997 irrelevant.
Yeah.
So now instead they like to bump it up 20 years.
Yeah.
So
to keep current. To give people phones and tablets.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Should we talk about that now?
Well, I wanted to get onto the point that Arnold, I think, with
his acting.
T1 and T2, obviously Arnold is fine. Arnold is born to play something like this because even in the early days he didn't speak very good English. He has that heavy Austrian accent. I think that his acting in this movie is subpar for even a Terminator. I mean, as I said before, I went into this not expecting T1 or T2. I was hoping it would be better than Salvation or T3. I would say that his acting is even worse than T3. And they really ran with that deleted scene from T2 with him smiling in this movie.
Yes, they did. They did it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, that gag got old really fast.
And everybody in the theater, of course, laughed at it. I'm like, it was funny the first time.
And the old jokes.
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of seeing those in new Schwarzenegger movies. Oh, I get it. You're old.
So, I will always say that Schwarzenegger is not an actor. He is a star. Because his body got him a lot of action roles. And then he became famous for that because he started in really good movies. But then, once he gets older,
he becomes a governor.
He got I mean, once he gets out of those, like he's becoming a little bit too old for the action thing. He tries to go into like mainstream movies, and then he realizes what a bad actor it is, like Kindergarten Cop. He's not a very good actor.
I'm not a pervert. I just wanted to find a Turbo Man doll.
Yeah. So that's my thing about Arnold. I do agree that he did not do a very good job acting in this movie. He was also given shit lines.
Yeah, and okay, so do we need to talk about the penis gag?
Yeah, you can explain.
Okay, so to go through the time field, you have to be naked. Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor are stripped down, and Arnold looks at Jai Courtney's junk and makes just what was it that he said?
More or less, the line was, "I have seen too little of your ability."
I have seen too little of your abilities, and something. When he says little, he's looking down at Jai Courtney's dick.
Right when he says little, it's just like direct. Because they made the joke, they established the plot line that plot device that they need to. Kyle Reese needs to have sex with Sarah Connor to produce John Connor. Yeah. And then the joke is that Arnold keeps on saying mate. Are you going to mate with him?
Yeah.
And they keep on saying that over and over. That actually did piss me off too much.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of a sin back to T3. T3 talked about that a little bit. But yeah, I'm glad that like once we got out of '84, that's where the movie starts to like. I was sold once they got to 2017.
Yeah, it took me a little while once it got into 2017, and it takes about like 50 minutes to get into 2017.
Yeah, and I mean for a lot of people that's a pretty long while. That's a decent time investment. Should we talk about J.K. Simmons since we're going to 2017?
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, when the credits were
the credits were rolling during the title sequence where infiltrating Skynet and stuff like that.
Yeah, the title credits were rolling, and we saw J.K. Simmons, and I'm like, what is he?
Who could he play? And then I look over to you and I say, Dr. Silverman. I was so hoping he was Dr. Silverman. He's not.
Unfortunately, he's not. But he did have a very fun role. Because
yes.
In the alternate, in 1984's alternate timeline,
Reese saves a cop from a T-1000.
Yeah, and then that cop knows that there's like Terminators, and he's kind of the crazy person who's working on the conspiracy theory for 30 years, and he finally comes in to play his role in helping to fight John Connor.
Yes, which okay. And that, it's totally played as a twist. As I said earlier, he shows up in the hospital after they get arrested in San Francisco because they're terrorists. They detonated a bomb on a San Francisco highway when it's the fucking time portal. And then John Connor shows up, and thanks to the trailer, I knew immediately that...
Yeah, because he's playing very nice. He's
I learned everything from you, Mom.
He's helping them, and then he goes on to prove that he's actually John Connor.
He even has that line about infiltration units. He's like, well, you always know infiltration units, it's always too late when it happens. Like, it's... And there's really... If you go into this and you don't know the twist...
I think it would be a good twist.
It is a decent twist, but they kind of throw it out there like maybe John is not pretty early on. And it's the MRI machine. He's made of nanomachines.
So his weakness is magnets. Nothing really. They just established magnets is what can hurt him really.
Yeah, and it works pretty well for a little bit.
Yeah.
Somebody blows up the MRI machine.
Yeah, I think John did that.
Honestly. Yeah, the more I'm starting to think about this, the more I'm starting to think how stupid it is that there's a Terminator made of nano machines.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb, but it's just the evolution, quote unquote, of Robert Patrick, the T-1000.
Yeah, and he's saying stuff like, "Oh, why did you do this, John? Why are you a robot?" Because synthesis.
Yeah, which is a Mass Effect 3 reference, which that game is terrible, but we'll move on. I do want to talk about the tablets and phone product placement.
Oh yes, Windows dominates the market.
Windows dominates the market. Windows tablets, Windows laptops, and Windows phones. Which, if you know anything about the market share of Windows phones, it is like 2% in the United States. So to see Windows phones everywhere
in 2 years,
in 2 years, Microsoft is gonna fucking nail it.
In 2 years, Genisys, which is an operating system in this timeline, which is actually Skynet, is going to be uploaded into everything. Which they say that this is an OS for tablets, computers. Oh, it's like Windows 10, basically. Except they also say one thing, which is an immediate red flag. They're like, it'll also integrate into NORAD. I'm like, whoa! Why does this need to be integrated into NORAD?
Let's keep that with humans.
Yeah, let's just keep that in the civilian market. And they also said there's a line in the movie which I'm just like, holy shit, we have a 1 billion pre-order install base. Yeah. That is unheard of.
That's insane.
It's awesome.
So, product placements, Microsoft, Pepsi. Did not see any Subway.
No Subway. There's no Subway this time around.
No Subway. Subway is in T2.
Yeah, Arnold had to eat fresh. He had to bulk up for his roll and eat sandwiches. Oh, crap. That just reminded me. There is something that's back in 1984 that I was kind of like, what? Okay. And that's when the T-1000 drops a little piece of himself into the dead T-800.
Yes, yeah.
That was dumb.
That was dumb. Yeah, we should say, we should have prefaced this, but this movie, you have to kind of go see this movie because if we try to explain the plot to you,
it's going to fall apart.
It's going to fall apart and you're not going to understand what we're talking about.
It's a summer dumb experience movie.
I will go off and say that it was more enjoyable to watch than Age of Ultron. I'm not saying that Age of Ultron is a worse movie than this. Worse made.
It's definitely less ham-fisted.
Yeah, I left watching I left theaters after Age of Ultron. I was upset, and this movie, I was like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah, this happened.
I think it has to play into the fact that the Avengers was pretty good. The previous two Terminator movies were not very good.
Oh, no, they were not.
So I was expecting it just to keep on going down and down.
And I think the reason why you may have had that feeling about Age of Ultron is because Age of Ultron is a brand new thing. Terminator is an old concept that has been around since '84. You got T1 and T2. You got 2 awesome movies. You don't need anything else. Yeah. Age of Ultron is a brand new thing that has not been remade. Like, there are no remakes of Marvel movies, really. Except Captain America. I mean, but do those even count? You know what I mean. You know what I mean. So we're going on to, what do they do after that? Like, they go to the arsenal that they have just hiding out in San Francisco.
Yeah, and by the way, Danny mentioned this to me in the theater. They have a huge arsenal of weapons, like a huge stockpile.
In California.
In California. How do you get that in California? I just said, oh, they just went to Utah.
Yeah, there you go.
They just bought it all in Utah and brought it back.
Shipped it over. I mean, but I think the thing about with them in the police station, like, this movie is full of callbacks.
Yeah, it's like, you can tell there's a lot of callbacks, and you go explain your callback.
Okay, so you got a police station assault. You have what else? You have an assault on Cyberdyne. Even what's her name? Amelia Clark. She's wearing the same clothes that Lyndall Hamilton wore in T2.
The picture, and I will say,
that picture was bad.
Yeah, that picture. I was like really, really pissed at the movie at that picture, and I did not have big expectations for it, but it surprised me. It was good. I will say one other thing that happens in T1, T2. At the very end, Arnold gets destroyed to a point where he has to crawl, or he crawls in every one of these. He crawls to get the thing that will
get the weapon
that he needs. So they kept that in there too.
Even some stuff with the T-1000, like shooting through the eye and then having that regenerate. Him turning backwards to chase at. Like, there's just. The whole 1984 is recycling shots.
Yes, it is. It really is.
And I don't really know how I feel at this point about all the callbacks, because it's like I told you when the movie was over. It's like the greatest hits of the Terminator franchise, except they did something to the mastering and the mix that makes it a little weird. It's nice that they kind of recycled some stuff, I guess. I mean, if you're going to go back, why not? I mean, it didn't really bother me. I'm sure there were some people out there who think, here you fucking recycled shots.
Yeah, there's going to be people who are pissed at this movie.
But if that's the case, just go back and watch T1 and T2. They exist in their own little
universe.
James Cameron timeline where Titanic and Avatar all happen in the same universe. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, so... we're not going to explain the whole plot of the movie. We're just explaining plot points and what made us happy or what made us pissed off. You did mention to me that James Cameron consulted for this movie. Do you think he consulted for the future war?
Maybe. I mean, that to me, watching the Blu-ray and special edition DVD, like all that stuff is on there. That is almost beat for beat. Except for setting up the plot for Genisys, where Matt Smith comes in. Like, that is all beat for beat what James Cameron wanted to do. Okay. Smashing the grid, the T-800 escaping, sending Kyle Reese. But I think in T2, instead of it just being the T-800, you also see the T-1000 escape.
Yeah.
Which causes him to reprogram a T-800 as well as send Kyle Reese back.
Speaking of the T-1000, we should mention that... at the very end of the movie,
Arnold is a T-1000.
Arnold is dead, and then they establish there's
the alloy cannot.
Yeah,
there needs programming.
Yeah, there's alloy in the room, alloy in the final boss room.
The final boss room. It does look like a final boss room from a video game. It really does.
And then there's alloy in the room, and then they say right before that. The alloy is not dangerous without a programming in it.
Yeah, it needs a CPU to program it.
And then he falls into the alloy, and then we know, oh, Arnold's alive. And then he comes back for Jai Courtney and Amelia Clark.
Which, honestly, Jai Courtney in this movie was not as
bad as I thought.
As A Good Day to Die Hard. Jack! I'm on vacation! Dad! Like, everything I've seen him in up to this point, I'm just like, no.
No, I think he was the movie that pissed me off most with him. I think I'm putting myself out there for people to correct me, but I think like the Maze Runner, the first Maze Runner movie, he's in that, and that movie just is bad. It's Divergent, I think. Yeah,
it's probably Divergent.
Yeah, it's Divergent.
Yeah. And he's also in Suicide Squad now, so it's like. But then again, that whole movie looks like a train wreck. But that's not what we're here to talk about. There's even throwbacks like Danny Dyson, instead of being Miles Dyson's son from T2, is now like running Cyberdyne.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes you wonder what happened to Miles Dyson.
Well, he was doing his thing. It doesn't really matter.
He probably built up the foundation for Cyberdyne.
Yeah, because Cyberdyne building in 97 it's just one building. Yeah. Now it's a whole complex in
that's a nice looking building.
Yeah.
Except
it all gets destroyed.
Helicopter chase in San Francisco.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I mean, I don't think Jai Courtney's a very good pilot.
No.
No.
There is one part that kind of pissed me off. They're they're taking off from a building, and then Arnold gets back onto the plane or the helicopter, and then I think that like
they go off sideways like this.
The
rotors here, and they're going down. It's like, how are you going to recover from that? You're not.
And then it should just ended. The movie should just ended there if it wasn't a movie. But they should have just explode. And then, no, they just do this, the amazing recover. They get right to the edge of the ground.
Yep, it's like, hey, that's me trying to play Battlefield. I'm not a very good pilot.
Yeah.
But, I mean, action-wise, it's
a good action movie. The plot did not piss me off.
The San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge thing was okay.
Yeah, that was okay.
It was okay. I mean, they really set that up in the trailers, but it's not the best. It's not even close to being the best set piece in this movie.
No,
not even close.
I would say the set piece is the helicopter.
Yeah,
I would say,
and even the helicopter is a callback with John being in a police chopper. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we should mention on the beat of a helicopter, not Dr. Silverman, J.K. Simmons, O'Brien in the movie. He has a Sabo round in a police station.
They're just like, where did you get this?
It's like a rifle-fired Sabo round, and it's like, why do you have this?
Yeah, it's like, oh, that'll be really useful. What's it doing in a police lockup? What does Arnold say about those shotgun shells?
I prefer like magnetic shotgun shells or something.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said they were like magnetic shotgun shells.
So that kind of like I don't know. I need to watch the movie again because I don't remember what he said.
Sarah used those in the final confrontation.
Yeah, and that's what pushes him.
Yeah, to stun him.
Yeah.
So that way Arnold can throw aluminum foil in the so-called microwave to destroy himself and John Connor at this point. I'm glad that John Connor did not have a Terminator codename. Something stupid like Terminatrix.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just, hi John. Bye John.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so I think it was a good movie. You should go see it.
I'm pleasantly surprised. I remember listening to Schwarzenegger talk about this. He's come out and he said this movie is better than Salvation. He was right.
Yes, he was.
It is. The hype is somewhat real.
Even though it has a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't think it deserves.
No.
I think it should get like a 60.
Yeah.
60, 70.
It's a lot better than... I think people are just wearing their nostalgia goggles.
Yeah, and no matter what happens in the series, it's going to be bad for them.
Exactly. But it is still better than 3 or Salvation.
Yeah, so my favorite movie is Terminator, then T2, and then this would have to be in the middle.
Yeah, this would have to be after T2.
Yeah.
T3. Salvation.
I don't know which one I hate more, Salvation or T3. The gay bar scene in T3 really brings it down.
Oh, is that the part where Arnold Schwarzenegger puts on the sunglasses and tells John Connor to hold me close, tiny dancer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I remember a little bit from that movie.
Yep.
Yeah. You said what? 60? 60 out of 100?
I'm not going to give it a rating right now. I would just say go see it. It's good. I think it deserves around a 60 from Rotten Tomatoes, but that's different than what I would personally give it. I would probably give it higher than that.
Yeah. It's not the best movie I've seen this summer. I think that still goes to Mad Max.
And yeah, it's going to be the best movie all year.
But I had a better time watching this than Age of Ultron.
Yes, I did.
But like you said, Age of Ultron is a better produced film.
Yeah.
But this movie is much more entertaining to watch.
Yeah, we watched the CG in Age of Ultron was much better, even though it still had rough points, especially at the beginning. And we watched the end credits for both movies. The CG artists.
Oh yes.
The wall of text for CG artists on Age of Ultron was amazing.
Yeah, it took like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was excessive. There had to be at least like 150, 200 people that worked on that.
And if there's one thing I'm not going to spoil about this movie, it's the fact that there is a mid-credit sequence. So if this movie did not piss you off too much and you're somewhat interested, I recommend sticking around and catching that. It's the only thing I'm not going to spoil.
And of course, they at the very end of the movie, they just leave it open to be another movie.
Please no fake movie make for
yourselves. But what I know is I'm looking forward to the future or some shit like that.
Yeah, the future is not set.
Yeah, the future is not set.
Yeah, which is just... The ending did kind of piss me off a little bit, because this movie really did close up a shitload of holes.
Yeah, and I was surprised. I was expecting it to be a lot open.
Yeah, Paramount just coming in and saying, look, it's a one and done. We're good. But then Arnold already ruined it before this movie came out and said, look, there's probably going to be a sequel. So, but still, that mid-credit sequence is still something to stick around for.
Yeah, if they get the same director, which I don't even know who directed this movie.
I don't know what his name is. I only caught the second unit director, Alexander Witt, who's done some pretty good action films. Like, he did the remake of The Italian Job, which had great sequences in it, Casino Royale. He also directed the train wreck known as Resident Evil Apocalypse. So, but still Casino Royale. Like, he did all that free running shit for Casino Royale. So, I mean, the guy knows how to do action, just maybe not telling people how to act.
Yeah.
So,
alright.
Yeah, I would say go ahead and if you're still skeptical about this movie, catch an early bird like we did. Because I was not going to pay full price for this movie going in. Highly predicted it to be like a 5 out of 10. You said a 4. I would go higher than that. I don't really know where I'd sit on it, but it definitely deserves more than a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes. I was surprised.
Yeah.
It is a dumb action movie.
Yeah, it's not smart at all.
No, like, the time travel stuff is not... It's just convoluted. But it's an entertaining movie to just... It's a one and done for me. I don't need to go see this movie again.
Yeah, I won't go see it again.
Yeah,
unless friends want to watch it, then maybe,
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Terminator franchise, so of course I'm going to go see it. But yeah, positive. Yeah, got nothing else for it.
Yep.
What's next? Ant-Man?
Ant-Man is next, and then after that, we're going to go watch The
Gift.
We're going to go
Are we going to go see The Gift?
I want to.
That trailer is hilarious. Look up a trailer for that movie if you have not seen it. It is hilarious.
They used to call him Gordo the Weirdo.
They need to recut it with Jason Bateman and Joe from Arrested Development.
Yeah, Will Arnett.
Yeah, Will Arnett. Just have Franklin Delano Blue. Hey, Daddy, how's it going, brother?
He could be the puppet.
So yeah. Hey, thanks for sitting and reviewing this movie with me. That's
not a problem.
Yep. We'll probably do another one for Ant-Man. Sound good?
Probably. Yeah.
All right. Take it easy, guys. Check this movie out.
See ya.